Yeah, still third.
We always face east when we pray. So even in your house, you can come to find out what east is in the prayer. Father God, we come here today, asking you for the ears to hear, asking you for this vision, this understanding. Thank you, Father, for giving us another life, allowing us to see another life. We seek signs of the God, Father. We ask today that they be able to know that they not just hear, but they do it, they heard also, Father. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Wow.
It's live? Okay, all praises. All right,
My check.
mic check. All praises. I want to give, let's start off again, all praises to Yahweh. And all the people that's out here, spreading this truth like that. And we just want to thank y'all for coming to the class and stuff like that. We also have a live audience that we like to speak to. So, we're about to go and get into the lesson. This lesson is basically over your reality versus your imagination. So we're going to dig into the scriptures and see what it means when I say your imaginations and how that ties in with your mindset and your thoughts and how that ties in with how you think in this truth and how you push forward in this truth and how you expect things in this truth and actually how you expect things in the world too, because we also have to deal with the world at times. So your reality versus your imagination. Let's start off with Genesis 6 verse 5.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 5.
Right.
And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth,
He saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, God.
and that every imagination,
And every what?
every
So
imagination,
every imagination. So every wickedness of man was in great in the earth, and every imagination, God,
of the thoughts of his heart,
of the thoughts of his heart, because the heart is not talking about your literal heart. It's not talking about the heart that's beating in your chest. It's talking about your mind. How can we prove that? Because if you read a few words before, it says your thoughts, and your thoughts come from your mind. So you have to understand that everything that proceeds out your heart, when it talks about the Bible, is actually your mind and your mindset and how you think, because everything starts with a thought. Your actions, anything that you do, you have to think it first. That's why when Joshua was talking about in the book of Joshua, he meditated on the law. And since he meditated on it, his thoughts was on it, he was able to accomplish the things of the law, and actually his actions was based on his mindset. But go ahead and read that again.
Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth,
Right.
and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil
It was
continually.
only evil continually. So without these laws and without this Bible, our thoughts are going to be evil continually. It's only going to think of adultery, covetousness, jealousy, covetousness, things like that. That evil that comes from within. That's from the brain. Go ahead.
And it repented the Most High.
And it repented the Most High. Even the Most High repented. Repentance is not talking about, turning back to, it's that changing of that mindset, changing of that, almost having a regret. Go ahead.
That he had made man on the earth,
Right.
and it grieved him at his heart.
So he regretted that he made man on the earth. That's that repentant, that the change of mind. That's what it talks about, repent and come back to the laws. To change your mindset and come back from the laws. Your mindset ties in with the imaginations. That's what we're about to get into. So, and when we imagine, it's constantly wicked. So, Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 23. What we imagine is constantly wicked.
Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 23.
But
But this thing commanded I them, saying, Obey my voice, and I will be your Elohim.
So if we obey the voice of the Most High, the scriptures, the understanding of the Most High, that's the voice. If we understand this Bible, He will be our God. He will fight our battles. We don't have to deal with paying our bills. We don't have to deal with our relationships with one another. He's going to look out for us. All we have to do is follow his thoughts. His voice. Go ahead.
And ye shall be my people,
And we shall be his people. Go ahead.
and walk ye in all the ways that
Now, some of the ways.
all the ways,
I've heard the ways.
all the
You have to
ways,
walk in all the ways of the Most High. That's including putting the pork down. That's including not celebrating the holidays. That's including wearing fringes. That's including dressing modestly. That's including all those things in the Bible, man. You gotta walk in all his ways. That's obeying his voice. Because once you obey his voice, and once you start to do the things in the Bible, he's gonna look out for you. He's gonna provide things that you need. Because the Lord knows what everybody needs. He made the pro. He made all these things in the earth. He knows that you need water. He knows that your bills gotta be paid. He knows that you gotta have these things. But you gotta seek him first. Seek the kingdom first. Then all these things shall follow. Go ahead.
and walk ye in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto
So
you.
it's going to be well for us not to eat pork. It's going to be well for us not to celebrate Christmas, not to celebrate 4th of July. It's going to be well for us to do those things. It's going to benefit us physically and emotionally, how we deal with one another in our relationships. Go ahead.
But they hearken not.
But some of us choose not to hearken to the voice of the Most High. We choose to decline the Bible, choose to walk in our own mindset. We choose to do the things we feel like we want to do, try to fight our own battles without the Bible. We feel like we can walk in our own counsel, basically. We didn't hearken to the true words. We are hearkening to our own imagination, our own mindset. Go ahead.
But they hearken not, nor incline their ear,
Nor incline their ear, they didn't listen. Go ahead.
but walk in the counsels
Uh-huh.
and in the
And
imagination.
the what?
In the
See, that
imagination.
imagination ties in with your mindset, man. That's how you think. Your imagination, even when you have a dream, your whole imagination is based off is based off the things that's within you. It can be based off what you want. It can be based off what your past relationship. Your dreams is usually based off what's within you, what's in your mindset, the things that you think about, the thoughts that you have. Go ahead.
Imagination of their evil heart.
Of the
And
what? Hold up. Let's not skip over that. Of the what?
imagination of their evil heart.
So they because we have to understand, out of the heart comes evil continually, man. It comes in naturally. So they follow the heart naturally. That's going off your own mindset. You're not even thinking about using your Hawashah, the words or nothing like that. You just reacting off how you want to do things, basically. Go ahead.
And in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward.
And when what?
Backward.
So by you following your own mindset, you end up going backwards. You're not going forward. You're not solving no problems. You're going backwards because you want to go forward in life. But in order to have that breakthrough, you have to physically go through it. Some of us we scared to go through some of these relationships. We like to avoid some of these problems. We like to avoid some of these loans, these bills, some of these bad credits that we got ourselves into. We like to avoid some of these problems. But by avoiding it and going off our own counsel and our own imaginations, we end up going backwards. And we end up dealing with those problems probably later in the future. It's going to affect you even more. But by us going through it, using this word, we're able to go forward. We're able to use wise counsel, which is in this book. Go ahead.
Since the days,
Was that 24?
yeah, that was 24.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so yeah, this is going into this is basically a breakdown of imagination. Is it my imagination or imagination? And this is if you read the outline of the biblical usage, this is coming from the Blue Letter, which is basically almost kind of like a dictionary or reference to the Bible, the closest, by scholars and stuff like that. And some of the things I want to bring out is when you look at the uses of the dictionary or the what's the word I'm looking for now? The meaning, the Strongs of this word. You have purpose, you have imagination, you have device. You also have, when you go down to like the Strong's definition, you have form, figuratively, conception, and purpose. And then you also have frame, things, frame, and imagination. And then mind, and then work. So all that ties in with basically how you walk, how you frame things in life, how you do things, your whole mindset. It basically ties in with you when you look at into that imagination. Because we like to think of it as like dreams and stuff like that, but it's more than just that. And some of our imaginations, some of the things that we think about are completely vain. And that's why we continue to live the same cycle. We're dealing with the same problems. We're not going through any breakthroughs. We're not getting better financially. We're not getting better spiritually, because we're dealing with the vain things of this earth, like women. You know what I'm saying? Some of us in this truth, you know what I'm saying? We have that lust for many women. You know what I'm saying? When we're looking to Paul, he talks about every man have his own wife, but you know what I'm saying? Some of us have that lustful spirit, that lustful spirit. Some of us can be vainglory, that social media. A lot of our lives is tied in with that form. When you look at this generation that's present right now, we constantly on the phone. We constantly on the phone. We constantly on social media. We're constantly doing the Snapchat. We're constantly doing the tweet. We're constantly on Facebook posting. You see what I'm saying? Because that social media, that's also idolatry. That's a god of itself, man. Once you dive into it, once you understand how that social media works and how people kind of need that dopamine, that need of a like. So they gotta post a picture. You know what I'm saying? Right.
It can be, social media can be self-worship.
Right.
Like the selfie itself can be self-worship, where you actually, you know, your whole timeline is just set up for your achievements, when all praise is supposed to go to the Most High. Anything you accomplish, all the praises go to the Most High. You ain't did nothing. You don't deserve anything. You ain't worthy even of living. You should be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It's because of His grace and mercy. You know what I'm saying? That we even here. So all praise is supposed to go to Him.
Right. God. And like I was saying, all praises must come to Him. And that's where that idolatry goes into, or who we truly worship, or our vain lust that we have. And some of us imagine a lot of money. We like to think about money, our financial issues, our credit. We like to imagine those things, like trying to get a nicer car, trying to get a bigger house, financially, having nicer stuff, a newer phone, you know what I'm saying? The next big thing, the next iPhone, you know what I'm saying? We like to tie our imagination to those things. And then the reason why I have the question mark up there, because we all have something. It's not going to be the same within all of us. We all might have a vain thought or an imagination that evil thought within us. It could be smoking cigarettes, it could be smoking weed, it could be out here, you can't stop celebrating Christmas, you know what I'm saying? It's anything. You don't want to wear fringes, you know what I'm saying? It's anything. So we all got a solution to this, you know what I'm saying? We bringing our solutions, we diving into it. We just going to scripture by scripture. We just seeing what we can, as much as we can scrape up from the scriptures. So let's go to Romans 7:11, man. What we may know as reality may just be an imagination. Because we may think it's real, but really it's not real. It's a dream, it's an imagination, it's sleep, perceiving that it's real. Romans 7:11, go ahead.
Romans chapter 7, verse 11. For sin, taken occasion by the commandment, deceived me.
Hold on. Go back there.
Is that Romans 9?
Yeah.
No.
Uh, 9:13.
9:13.
Ready? Just read about it there, then I'll get the precept at the end of class. Can you see it off the screen?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for,
Right.
but the election have attained it.
So election is the chosen, the 144, and also the 1/3 that's not going to be destroyed by fire. That's prophesying in the book of Isaiah. Go ahead.
And the rest were blind.
But the rest of the people, the other 2/3, the other people, they've had imaginations. They were blind. The scriptures say that they were blind. Verse 12.
According as it is written,
Right.
God hath given them the spirit of slumber.
The spirit of what?
Slumber.
So God gave them the spirit of slumber, the spirit of sleep, the spirit of that being about imagination that you have. Go ahead.
Eyes that eyes that they should not see,
eyes that they should not see.
and ears that they should not hear.
Because they have eyes, but they can't see, and they also have ears, but they can't hear. That's that spirit of imagination. They're thinking of something. They're thinking this. What kind of example can I give? Probably like a relationship with a woman. You may think it like this relationship is good, it's going right, and reality is you're destroying it. You're not going by the scriptures. It could be anything. You got something that can tie in with that?
Or just lust blinding you. It's like in the beginning of relationships, a lot of times you be so blindly in love with somebody, you don't see how abusive they are.
Right.
You don't see, you don't.
And I think I put that up there. Matter of fact, I think that's on the next slide about the abusive relationships.
Yeah, that you don't see it, that you know what I'm saying? That
Right.
or you just so lustful for a car. You go in that dealership and they just rape you. You know what I'm saying? And you just be like, you know what? I done got rejected so many times. You know what? Just give it to me. Just give it to me. Outside of that, you paying. You know what I'm saying? You paying $500 for an Ultima.
Right.
And that's a testimony. That's a personal testimony.
Let's go on. Psalms 81 and 11. Sometimes those ordained imaginations, because people also think they're in this truth, and really they're not in the truth. They got the spirit of the devil on them. You see what I'm saying? When they think they're in the truth, they baptize them, like they rebuking brothers and sisters, but really they're the devil that the Bible speaks of. They have that spirit of Satan on them. But sometimes that's ordained by the Most High. Psalms 81 and 11 real quick, go ahead.
Psalms chapter 81, verse 11. But my people would not hearken to my voice. Yeah, would not hearken unto my voice, and Israel would none of me.
And Israel none of me. So none of the people of the Most High, the Israelites, will hearken to the voice of the Most High. Verse 12.
So I gave them up unto their own hearts' lust.
That their own heart's lust. We just read about that imagination tying in with your mindset, and how your mindset ties in with your heart. Because your heart is really your mind when you're talking about the scriptures, because of your thoughts. And he gave them up to his own heart's lust. So your lust that you have in your mind, whether it could be that weed, that cigarette, the women, it could be anything that you're dealing with. We all are dealing with something. He gave you up to your own lust because you chose not to hearken. So you thinking you walking in this truth, but really he gave you up in it, and you're not hearing your prayers. He just gave you up. Go ahead.
I had another translation.
Right.
I seen it too when you first did Imaginations.
Right.
Also is here with your heart's lust, the word stubbornness. Your heart's stubbornness. It's another translation for that imagination.
Right.
That lust.
And they walked in their own counsel. Verse 13.
And they walked in their own counsels. Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways.
So basically, he was warning that if his people would have hearkened to me and Israel walked into this way, he was basically warning the Israelites. But he did give them up to his own heart's lust. And sometimes it's hard to separate reality from an imagination. Sometimes the relationships like we're dealing with, like Aqua was saying, that abusive relationship, you may, in your mind, and you're thinking like he's a good guy, or he really loves me, you know what I'm saying, but really he's beating you up, you know what I'm saying? He's hitting you with the hands. And that could be, you separating, it could be hard for you to separate reality from imagination, from your own mindset. That could be hard for people in abusive relationships. My second point, us deceiving ourselves starts with imagination. So we may think, I'm gonna smoke this last pack of cigarettes, I'm gonna stop next week. That's us deceiving ourselves, because we know in reality you're not gonna stop next week. You're not about to start smoking next week. You're just telling yourself that, so you're just gonna, get yourself another cigarette. You see what I'm saying? That could be us deceiving ourselves from, our reality and our actual imaginations. You see what I'm saying? So in our imagination, like I said, I have to keep stressing that ties in with our mindset. So, the way we think from what reality is going to give out. You see what I'm saying? Like us in the truth, we may think if we don't, follow the laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High, we still will be saved, but in reality, you're already destroyed. You see what I'm saying? That can be us also. That can be that too. That's brothers even in this truth. So, tying in. The spirit that comes behind that. So, different spirits that come behind that that vain imagination, you being all up in your own imaginations, you know what I'm saying? You're not walking at the counsel of the Most High. You can also have that covetous spirit, and that's you wanting more. You have a desire to want other things. You see what I'm saying? Because your mindset is also going to be focused on wanting this or wanting that, or I want this because they have it, or you focus on other people. That's you and your imaginations, because you're only dealing with your mindset. You're not dealing with reality. You're not dealing with what you have, what the Most High has already given you, and what situations you're dealing with, and how that can be a blessing for you. Because sometimes the affliction that we deal with can be the blessings. That could be the blessings in the end. So go ahead and read it off for us.
Outline for biblical usage. To turn upon a thing.
Right.
To have a desire for,
right.
For, to desire.
Right.
To lust after.
To lust after, like that covet, to lust after, the covetous spirit. As you wanted more, God.
Of those who seek things forbidden.
Things that seek things forbidden. Like, you know what I'm saying, that can't happen. Thou shalt not covet. So Romans 13 verse 8. That's going into that covetous spirit.
Romans 13 verse 8. Owe no man anything.
Right.
But to love one another.
So this is, just to give a breakdown of Romans, what's going on here. So they were talking about basically, the 10 commandments and stuff like that, like love thy brother and you love thyself, and also, loving Yahweh Shah, not putting no other guy before him. But basically, he's going out in Romans. He said, verse 8, he said, "Owe no man anything." So basically, he's breaking down how to walk in the right way, how to perfectly walk in the law of the Most High. So verse 8, read that again.
Romans chapter 13, verse 8, owe no man anything.
So don't be in debt, basically. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
But to love one another.
Love one another, go ahead.
For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law.
So, Christians will take that and be like, you know what I'm saying? Since I love you, I don't have to, I fulfill the law. I don't have to wear fringes. I don't have to, do stuff like that. But, we have to break it down for how it is. So verse 9. For this, if you loving one another, this is loving one another. Basically, this is what that verse 9 is saying. But this, go ahead.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
So don't commit adultery with your brother. Don't sleep with your wife, your brother's wife. Don't be having lustful thoughts after your brother girlfriend or wife. Don't have that's loving your brother. By doing that, that's you loving your brother. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not kill.
So thou shalt not kill. You know what I'm saying? That having that hatred spirit. We think killing that's murder, but once you go into the really spiritual meaning of kill, that's that hatred spirit. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not steal.
Don't steal from one another. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Right.
Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet. And having that, what we're going over, having that spirit of wanting more and desires. Go ahead.
And if there be any other commandment.
And if they what?
And if there be any other commandment.
So, any other commandment that's written, not just those right there, but any other commandment, including the fringes, including keeping the Passover, including the other stuff like that. Any other commandment that's written, go ahead.
It is briefly comprehended in this saying.
So all the other commandments is briefly comprehended in this right here.
Saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
So that means by doing that, you are loving your brother as yourself. So let's go on to the next one. Another spirit that comes behind your imaginations, your mindset, is a deceitful spirit, which is a very dangerous spirit, because that can end up getting yourself destroyed. And go ahead and read some of those songs off. Lie. So, like I said, every action starts with a thought. So, like I said, about the cigarettes, you're telling yourself something, you're telling yourself something, but really it's a lie. It's a deception. You're really not going to stop next week, like I was saying. That's a lie. That starts with a lie. Go ahead.
Lie, lying, falsehood, falsely, vain, wrongfully, deceitful.
Right.
Deceit, liar, shalakia. Lie, deception, disappointment, falsehood, deception, deceit, fraud, wrong, fraudulently, wrongfully, falsehood, injurious in testimony, testify falsely, false oath, swear falsely, falsity.
Where you see that?
Huh?
Good. Where you see falsity at? No, I see. Okay. That's it out of me. That's all. Proverbs 11 and 17. Oh, I got a few more slides. There's a couple more slides.
Proverbs 11:17.
Right. Because that ties in with that deceitful spirit. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 11, verse 17. The merciful man doeth good to his own soul.
Michael?
The merciful man doeth good to his own soul.
Right.
But he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh.
But he that is cruel to himself will trouble his own flesh. So basically, when it ties into that flesh, that you find the spirit against the flesh. Basically, the person that's telling you not to smoke a cigarette versus the person that's telling you go ahead and put it in your mouth and smoke it. You see what I'm saying? Those two are battling each other. That's the flesh and the spirit. So he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. So he that is cruel and has that cruel mindset, that hatred mindset, he's constantly, fighting his flesh. He can't overcome and walk in the spirit. Verse 18.
The wicked worketh a deceitful work.
Oh, the wicked what?
The wicked worketh a deceitful work.
So a wicked person will always work a deceitful work. That's that deceitful imagination, that deceitful mindset, that deceitful heart. Go ahead.
But to him that soweth righteousness,
So if you're righteous in this truth, if you're righteous, if you're walking out the commandments, go ahead.
shall be a sure reward.
Shall be a sure reward. Verse 19.
As righteousness tendeth to life,
Right.
so he that pursueth evil pursueth it to his own death.
So, as righteousness tend to life, he that pursueth evil pursueth to his own death. So, the righteous is only going to keep the commandments to want to live. The deceitful, the people that deceive themselves and have that evil mindset, they're only doing that to their own death. They're only doing that to their own destruction. That's what verse 19 is basically saying. So putting off those deceitful lusts, putting off that deceitful spirit, how do we do it? Ephesians 4:21. How do we fight those thoughts? How do we fight those inner spirits, those inner demons? Right?
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 21.
Right.
If so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahushua.
This is talking about the disciples and stuff like that. If so that you heard him, talking about the gospel, the teachings of Yahushua Jesus Christ, and have been taught by him. That's if you've been up to his parables or have been following them. As the truth that is in Yahushua. Go ahead, verse 22.
That you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man.
So you have to put off that old man. It's not talking about like a literal old. It's talking about that old spirit that you have, that old ways, the old ways that you used to walk in, the old mindset that you used to have. Go ahead.
Which is corrupt according. Which is corrupt.
So it's corrupted, meaning it's not corrected. It's got a dang, what's the right word I want to put in it?
Got a virus.
A virus. That's a good one. A virus in it.
Like in the computer.
Right. And therefore the computer is not able to function like it's supposed to.
Or the file corrupted.
Right. Right. And it's not able to work. You're not able to open it. It's corrupted, God.
According to the deceitful lust.
So all that corruption is caused by those, you smoking those cigarettes, you lusting after women, you not wearing fringes, you not following the commandments. That's all caused by that right there. That corruption is all caused by you walking it wickedly. You not walking by the way Yahushua or by the ways of the commandments. Go ahead.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
So in order to be that, by you putting off those former conversations and because your conversation ties in with your mindset and how you think, usually the way you think, it's gonna proceed by the way you talk. So by you putting off those type of conversations, like you want to be around people that have the same mindset as you. So you'll be able to lift each other up. You'll be able to get you certain situations and stuff like that to walk through with people with the same mindset as you, so you can be able to grow. So by putting that on, you'll be able to put away the corruptness, which is deceitful lust, being able to overcome your lust and your desires, and you'll be renewed in the spirit of your mind, which is by the law, such as commandments. And with that, I thought was my last slide. I didn't know it was my last slide, but that's the whole lesson. That's all I poured out with imaginations and your mindset and your deceitful thoughts and stuff like that. And you know, I'm just hoping that you know we all can overcome whatever we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? We gotta gather as a body. You know what I'm saying? Confessing with to one another, be able to pull through, be able to hold one another out financially. You know what I'm saying? Building our financial wealth with one another, be able to work with one another. Not having to, you know, go to the white man, work 9, 5, 60 hours a week, something like that. Be able to help each other out as a community. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking forward to. So, is there anything you want to bring up?
Just, you know, because I have been bringing this out too lately with the whole deceit, man. The sin starts with, all sin starts with that lie. With you lying to yourself. I had to use the analogy with the cartoons, how they had an angel on one side and the devil on the other side. You had that conversation with yourself. And what you have to do is start quieting yourself and hearing that conversation. And know that one side of that conversation is the Holy Spirit, the other side is your lust. Right? The other side is your desires. You'll go in there and you want to steal something. Right? Say if you try, like, you know what, I can get this flat screen out of here. You know, ain't gonna be no consequences. You see what I'm saying? And you will juice yourself. A lot of times we juice ourselves in wickedness. You know what I'm saying? I can sleep with Shaw, you know what I'm saying? We juice ourselves into the wickedness. We have to coach ourselves into it. Just like you had to coach yourself into smoking, you had to coach yourself into to drinking the alcohol. You know what I'm saying? It ain't something that you initially liked it to do. You know what I'm saying? You had to train yourself into doing those things. So that deceit, those desirable, that imagination is that you listening to the devil angel too much. And that's yourself. Devil just means deceiver. The word devil, diabolos, just means deceiver. Satan, Hasatan, just means adversary. You know what I'm saying? We are greatest deceivers. We are greatest adversaries. We trick ourselves. We lie to ourselves because we don't want to deal with the truth. We don't want to face reality. Because reality is tough. But once we face it, that's what strengthens us. You know what I'm saying? So we can have the peace. Because you can't get the peace. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit. You can't get the peace until you're strong enough to endure the truth. Till you're strong enough, till you've been built up enough to endure the truth. And that's just taking things one step at a time, man. Just getting on that path, getting into that righteousness one step at a time. But the whole, both bases of that lesson I would take with me was that desire, that desirable lust, listening to your heart, listening to your wants. You have, that's why you have, that's the cardinal mind. That's the cardinal way of thinking. The natural way of thinking is sin. That's why we have the instructions. Go ahead,
if you go to 1 Corinthians 10, 2 Corinthians 10 and 4, that'll tie in with your imagination.
1 Corinthians 10, 4.
Oh yeah, with the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Weapons of our warfare.
But that cardinal mind, like I said, that cardinal mind state is that natural mind. It's natural. It's natural to sin. It's just easy to do. It tastes good. It feels good. It smells good. It's natural to do it. That's why we have instructions, and that's what the Spirit is. You have to listen to the instructions. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to go in here and take what you want, but to work for it is instruction. It's harder to do that. You know what I'm saying? But when you work for it, guess what you have? Peace. You have peace. You ain't got to open the door up with the pistol every time. You see what I'm saying? You have peace. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what I would take mainly from that lesson. Go ahead and bring that precept out.
2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 4. But the weapons of our warfare is not carnal, but mighty to God for pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God.
Casting down those imaginations, casting down those desires. Casting down, you know what I'm saying? You say, you know, I ain't trying to do it like that. I'm gonna go ahead and stack the bread. I ain't gonna go in here and go to the buy here, pay here. I'm gonna go ahead, muscle down. I've been catching the bud. Go ahead, muscle down for another year or whatnot. Get my credit right. Get, you know what I'm saying? Get everything situated. And then, like this truth is the harder way. You know what I'm saying? And it's narrow. Straight and narrow is the way. It's the hard way. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times when we avoid the hard way, we thinking that it's shortcuts. But it really prolongs us. You know what I'm saying? When the Most High put us in that path, He put us in that path the hard way for a reason. You know what I'm saying? For it to strengthen us. So, again, like I say, what I would take from that lesson is trying to hear that voice. When you have those conversations with yourself, and you thinking about should I do it, and then you got the other side saying, nah, you know, you should be doing it. You know what I'm saying? You know, that ain't gonna be some
That's
consequence.
that spirit right there.
You know what I'm saying? That's the whole. That's the ruach. That's the ruach kadesh. That's the Holy Spirit.
People tie that in with like your consciousness. You see what I'm saying? They try to tie that in with science.
Right. That's your conscience getting to you. No, that's the
just-
ruach. That's
right.
the instructions. That's him telling you, sitting down, telling you, hey, and you know you're not supposed to do that. That means what you need to be doing. And then you're like, you know what? That's a quick minute. I can go ahead and do that. I can take care of so much. I can get them things situated, and then it end up taking you backwards, like the scripture we brought out earlier. It end up taking you
Right,
backwards,
you're walking backwards,
and not
right.
forward. Now you're doing time. Now you know what I'm saying. Now you having to come back out and rebuild everything. So you know what I'm saying. Like I say, just take time to listen more closely to that voice. You know what I'm saying. When you hear it, just go ahead and stop you and say, let me listen. You know what I'm saying. Boss may be cussing you out. You naturally you just want to. I don't need. You know what I'm saying. Just take a second.
Right.
Listen to the voice. You know what I'm saying. And let the spirit guide you more so than the flesh. Because the flesh initially gonna want to cuss back. That's why you gotta think before you speak.
Yeah, say that, right.
With that, yeah, that's.
Any questions? No questions? You can, and with that, we're gonna say shalom, and we're gonna pick back tomorrow with a African class, but you're gonna end the last week, last one.
Yeah, a good lesson.
Yeah, no, to tie in what he was saying, someone all get it so yeah, you know what right?
Y'all know about the Apocrypha?
Apocrypha. Okay.
Apocrypha?